If you're over 50 and you get out of breath easily, you know how that affects you. Maybe you're having a hard time going up the stairs. Maybe you don't have the energy for exercise. And maybe it's even affecting your decision to go out and be social. Say goodbye to all that. In this video, you learn 4 different ways to improve your endurance so that you no longer get out of breath so quickly. Now, there are many reasons why somebody can get out of breath too quickly. When somebody complains to me of that, there are 4 different factors that really come to mind, although there are others, but these are the 4 major ones. Probably the single biggest one is just obvious, poor cardiovascular endurance. If you're not doing any exercise or you're not doing any cardio, this makes sense. But a lot of people think, well, I walk every day, or I walk 4, 5, 6 days per week. This can't be me, this doesn't apply to me. Well, there could still be you. Walking only improves your endurance for a very short period of time. If you go from being absolutely sedentary to walking, you're going to improve slightly for a short period of time, but not to a great extent. Walking does not improve your endurance for a very long time and to a very large extent. So if you still get out of breath despite walking every day, maybe you still have cardiovascular endurance. Maybe it's not high enough to keep up with your demands. And so what do you need to do in order to improve your cardiovascular endurance? Well, what you can do is you have to start slow. You don't go for high intensity cardio right off the bat. You start off, general guidelines are 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week. That is either 5 days per week for 30 minutes, 3 days per week for 50 minutes, etc. But if right now you're doing 0, maybe 150 is too much. Start with maybe only 5 or 10 minutes per day and add 1 or 2 minutes every week or every other week. Now, what is moderate intensity? Moderate intensity is a pace that allows you to form a full sentence but not carry on a full conversation. Or if you prefer to be more precise, what you would do is you would use your pulse. You measure your pulse and you want to stay for that duration between 65 and 75% of your maximal heart rate. And if you're wondering how to calculate your maximal heart rate, it's 220 minus your age. Let's hypothetically say you are 60 years old, so 220 minus 60 makes 160. You take 65 to 75% of that number. And that's your exercise pulse for the duration of your exercise. And again, over time, increase your duration up until you can do the point where you can do 150 minutes per week. Now, if you don't want to exercise for that long, you can actually choose to go a higher intensity, above 85% of your max, in which case you can really shorten the duration. So instead of doing 150 minutes of moderate intensity per week, you can actually do 90 minutes of high intensity per week. High intensity is anything above 85% of your maximal heart rate. If you're doing that, your pace should be so high you can't say more than 1 or 2 words without taking a breath. You should definitely can form a full sentence or carry on a conversation. As for the activity itself, it doesn't matter. Whether you're doing running, walking up a hill, cycling, swimming, rowing, none of that matters. The activity doesn't matter. The duration, pulse, and frequency are the only 3 things that matter. Now, if you're currently sedentary, don't go for high intensity right off the bat. Spend 1 or 2 months in moderate intensity exercise before you even attempt to do high intensity. But if you've already been doing moderate intensity exercise, try high intensity at least every other workout, and eventually maybe even every workout. Now, if all this is complicated and overwhelming to you and you need personal help to create an exercise program that fits your body specifically, we have a service just for that. If you click on the link in the description below, it'll take you to our homepage where you can fill out an application form for a quick 10 to 15 minute Zoom chat. In that Zoom chat, we're just going to discuss what is your goal, what are your issues, what are your medical conditions, injuries, etc., to see whether or not we can help you. It's no obligation, no pressure, no sales pitch, just a quick conversation to see whether or not we can work together. So that is reason number 1, why people often get out of breath, which is just poor cardiovascular endurance. Reason number 2, in no particular order, is low iron levels. What is iron used for? Iron is used in a protein called hemoglobin in the blood or myoglobin in the muscle. What it does is it helps carry oxygen around in the blood or in the muscle. And so if you have low iron, you also have a low oxygen carrying capacity. You can't get the oxygen to your heart or your lungs or your muscles. No wonder that you're having a hard time with endurance. And that's assuming you're actually doing your cardiovascular exercise. And so to test for it, there's a bunch of different tests, but probably the 2 most important ones are hemoglobin and ferritin. If either one of those is low or borderline low, you have to investigate why might that be. Is it an intake issue? Are you just not eating enough iron? Is it an absorption issue? Are you eating iron but not extracting it from your food? Or is it a loss issue? Are you losing excessive amounts of iron? So these are possible reasons why your iron might be low, even if you're eating sufficient iron-containing foods. Another possible reason for low endurance is vitamin B12. What is vitamin B12 used for? It's used for the production of red blood cells, where red blood cells contain iron, but they also contain oxygen. So if you have either low iron or low B12, the end result will be the same, which is a difficulty having high enough energy levels to carry out your activities of daily living. And a fourth reason why you might have low energy levels is a slow thyroid. The thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland that sits in front of the windpipe, and it's kind of like the gas pedal on your metabolism. When it's working too fast, well, that's not good. You're burning through fat, yes, but you're also burning through muscle, you're burning through bone, and you can get heart palpitations, etc. The opposite is true as well. If you have an excessively slow thyroid, you tend to put on body fat, but also you have low energy levels because your metabolism is running slower than it needs to. If you like this information and you want more information about fitness and nutrition over 50, I have a free fitness newsletter for, well, this demographic exactly. So if you like, click on the other link in the description below and you'll be able to subscribe to that newsletter, and you always have the option of unsubscribing. Thank you and goodbye.